Welcome to Loving Out Loud, how to improve communication, sustain sexual passion, and create lasting love relationships. My name is Paula Smith, and I'm your summit host. Loving Out Loud is about loving fiercely and showing up in a different way to create a new reality, one that allows you to access your deepest truths and desires. No matter where you are in the love and life cycle, Loving Out Loud is a prescription for awakening your heart, your mind, and your body to a deeper consciousness and a more authentic and intentional self-expression. Welcome to Loving Out Loud. My guest today on Loving Out Loud is Dr. Jackie Black. Dr. Jackie is a board-certified coach who helps couples in trouble wake up and create better lives together. Cosmo named her as one of the most beloved international gurus, love gurus. Dr. Jackie is a frequent guest expert on radio stations throughout the world and on internet radio, and is regularly cited in major magazines in the U.S. and abroad. Dr. Jackie's best-selling dating book is Meeting Your Match, Cracking the Code to Successful Relationships. Her second book in the Cracking the Code series is Couples and Money, Cracking the Code to Ending the #1 Conflict in Marriage. Dr. Jackie's third book in the Cracking the Code series is Love Like a Black Belt, Cracking the Code to Being a Happy Couple. Dr. Jackie co-authored this book with Jim Bouchard, who has been a professional martial artist instructor for 25 years. This is our recent conversation. I want to welcome one of my most favorite experts in the world, Dr. Jackie Black, to Loving Out Loud. Welcome again to our summit, Dr. Jackie Black.
Thank you so much. I'm thrilled to be here with you again, Paula.
This is wonderful. I remember when we met a little over a year, you said, Paula, they're doing video now. So here we are. We're on video.
And this is my first video summit, I must tell you. So I'm thrilled to be doing it with you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule. You know, this summit is really about giving our watching audience practical tools and guidance to help them with their relationships. I mean, You've been in this field a long time, and you know that couples are still struggling. They're still having a lot of difficulties. So I'm just going to launch in. I have lots of questions for you.
Okay.
So
I'm ready.
So, you know, we were talking last year about conflict and connection, and so this year we're going to kind of jump around. Okay. What are two key things that you'd like couples to remember about communication?
To say what you mean and to mean what you say. And I know that that's an old adage, do what you say and say what you do, and say what you mean and mean what you say. Mm-hmm. It's really important because we rely on each other's word. We rely on what we say to each other, what we hear from each other, and it's important. And it really is a breach of trust if you don't honor what you say, if you don't mean what you say and say what you mean, and do what you say and say what you do.
Yeah, makes sense. That makes sense. I know a lot of times we tend to want to protect, you know, by not saying everything, you know, which can be very destructive.
You know, there's no altruism, and so the person we're trying to protect is ourselves.
Right.
Because we don't want to deal with the upset, the anger, the tears, whatever the behavior is.
Yeah.
And that's not a good reason to not be fully disclosing.
Yeah.
Because communication is really not about telling anybody anything.
Right.
Communication is really about being known.
Being known. Wow.
Right. And right. So that you really know me, I am known to you, and that I know you.
Right. So that means I have to move away from sort of censoring what I'm disclosing to you. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, Dr. Jackie, you say that there are two sides to communication. What are um, those two sides?
There is the sender
Mm-hmm.
and there's the receiver. And in any communication, you can only have one receiver at a time and one sender at a time. And most people don't understand this or recognize this. But in any communication, you have to decide before you start talking who is the sender, who's talking, and who's the receiver, who's listening. Because both of those are different skill sets. So you have to really know. So if we have an important conversation that we want to have or that I want to have with you, then I'll come to you and say, Paula, there's something that I'd like to talk to you about. It'll only take 15 or 20 minutes. Is this a good time, or shall we schedule a time? Now, that's the first piece, that I may want to talk to you, but it might not be a good time for you, and I don't know that. Mm-hmm. So check out, is it a good time? And you say to me, you know what, this is a fine time. Let's sit down and talk. Mm-hmm. Right. So I'm going to say to you, I really need to talk, and I need you to listen. Are you in a place where you can listen? And you'll check around, and maybe you were preoccupied, or maybe you have a meeting in a half hour, and you may say, you know, I am in a place to listen. I'm now that you called my attention to it, I'm ready. So I'm the sender, you're the receiver, you're ready, so I can begin. You know, it sounds formulaic and it sounds tedious, but if you think about it, communicating is so important. Getting the courage, gathering up the courage and the clarity to say what's on your mind and in your heart, and really listening to understand is important.
It is.
And so we have to give it the time and the energy that it deserves.
Yeah. It sounds a lot like the imago concept of sending and receiving.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, because the two roles are very different roles, and as you said, very different skill sets. One person is sending, one person is receiving. And as the person who is sending, their job is to send their message very clear, very concise. And the receiver's role is to reflect that back. So it's very similar, what you're talking about. But Dr. Jackie, you say that instead of blaming, criticizing, complaining, you're encouraging couples to make requests. How does this move a relationship forward?
So we want to start with the premise that everybody has legitimate, very important, legitimate needs and wants. Yeah. So if I have a legitimate need and want, then I want you to know what it is. I'm going to give it the honor, the weight of its legitimacy. And so I'm going to make a request for two reasons. One, I want you to know what I need and want. And I want to get what I need and want if it's possible. Mm-hmm. If we together can get to yes. Okay. And that's really one of those things that there's no. I don't let my couple say no to each other. There is no in relationship. Okay. Why would one adult say no to another adult? That doesn't make any sense at all. So we really want to get to yes. And the only question is how. You know, what is it that you need from me? How can I support you? Right. And the only way I can figure out how I can support you is for me to know exactly what you need and want from me. Yeah. And that causes a whole domino effect, because we live in a culture that doesn't value legitimate needs and wants. It's like, well, who are you that you need and want that? And why do you need and want that from me? There's a cultural sort of perspective that says I should be an island, right? I should be independent, and I should be able to take care of my own stuff, and you should take care of your own stuff. But the fact of the matter is that independence is almost the death knell to relationships. Absolutely. We really want to be interdependent. So that if I come with my 100% me, and you come with your 100% you, then together we co-create that which affirms and esteems both of us and our lives. And then we build the thing that really gives us happiness and fulfillment and satisfaction.
Yeah. So we really are moving into a relational paradigm.
Yes.
We've been individuals, and now it's really about the relationship.
It really is.
Yeah.
Because what I've always said is that the relationship is three energies. There's your energy, there's my energy, and then there's the relational space. There's that third entity. And that really lives and breathes, that third energy that is your energy plus my energy. That's our we.
Yeah.
So we're moving away from the clashes of the I into building the we.
Yeah. And there's that sacred space between us. That space that we get to co-create together.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that. So Dr. Jackie, you talk about whole truth, right? So what do you mean by whole truth?
So it's my truth. It's not the truth. It's my truth in any given moment. So I may say to you, I believe, or I need and want, or I'm having trouble with X and so.
Yeah.
And then maybe tomorrow or next month or next year, I have more information, or I've had some growth or an experience around that, and I know more. So as I know more, I come back and I say to you, you know that thing we talked about? I really have more information about that, or I've changed my perspective about that. So that nothing is static.
Okay.
We always get to come back to the relationship and to change and amend and add. Suppose we have an agreement. And I find that I'm really having trouble honoring that agreement. So I come back to the table and say to you, Paula, you know the thing I agreed to the other day? I'm noticing that I'm really having trouble agreeing to that. I'd like to renegotiate our agreement.
Yeah, yeah. So you can change your mind. Right?
Yes, you can.
You can change your mind. Wow, fascinating. So what, in terms of communication, right? What are the three most important words that transpire between partners?
Tell me more.
Ah, I love it. Yeah.
Tell me more.
Yeah.
And again, we want to be known. So if I'm talking and you're really listening deeply and elegantly, and you say to me, tell me more. Yeah. It's that sacred invitation to really drop down into my me and to reveal and to express more and more and more so that you know me more and more and more.
I love that. You know, when you said it, even though we were talking theoretically about it, I could feel a shift inside. I mean, it was sort of a visceral, you know, like, wow. Ooh. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. You and I were talking before about listening. You said that you wanted to talk about listening. And I said, oh, this is great. This is great. So in your view, there are two parts to listening, right? Can you, in the listening process rather, can you share about that? I'm so excited to hear what you think about it.
So there's hearing, right? That's why we have two ears and one mouth, because we really listen more than we talk.
Right.
So there's hearing, and then there's responding. So people think that if they're listening, they're sitting there quietly and they're listening, but that there's never a response. There's never an engagement that they're doing a good job. And they don't understand why their partners say, well, do you have something to say? It's like, no, I'm listening. It's not accurate. So the responding piece is the second piece. So there's hearing, and then there's responding. And we don't have to say too much. And this is another thing that's a big misnomer. I don't have to listen and then respond and say anything profound. Right? I don't have to be brilliant. I don't have to have the right response for you. Responding is really more engaging. It's more being involved with you energetically. So, and I can do that verbally. Yeah. I can nod. I can lean forward and tilt my head a little. I can have short or brief utterances. Ah. Oh. Okay. And you see me, and even if we're on the phone, It's very interesting that what we can pick up on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
When people are really listening, there's an energy, there's a quality of the interaction that is there. It's just like, I'm sure that if you're talking to somebody on the phone and they're multitasking, you know that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right?
You can hear it in their breathing as well.
Right. Well, the same thing is true if you're really engaged, if you're really connected.
Yeah, yeah. So, Dr. Jackie, you developed a model for men listening.
Right.
So, there's an implication that men listen differently than women.
Yes, men listen differently than women. And there's two things about that. I was giving a presentation at an auditorium, at a school auditorium. So I'm on a high stage at a lectern. And I'm talking about all kinds of things. And there's a man that jumps up and he's waving. He's like, Dr. Jackie, Dr. Jackie. And so I came out from the lectern, grabbed the mic, came out, and I said, yes, sir, hello, how can I help you? And he said, look, I was dragged here by my wife, and I was prepared to hate you. And I don't. And I was prepared to not like anything that you had to say. But that isn't true either. As a matter of fact, I really like you, and I love everything you're saying. Here's my problem. I don't have the first clue how to do any of it. If you can tell me how to do this stuff, I'm going to do it happily and willingly. Because I really see that it'll make a big difference. And it was like this giant light bulb went off, right? And I said, oh, how? It changed the way I work with people. It changed how I write articles and books, develop products, changed everything for me in a second.
Right. Yeah.
Because I got that nobody is actually teaching people how to implement, how to execute the stuff that we talk about.
Right.
So I decided that that was really going to be my legacy, right? That I was really going to tell people how. So I started with listening. Because, so there's two sides of this. We know that men love to fix things, right?
Yep.
They love to fix the problem, solve the problem. If they can jump in and fix the problem, it's great.
Yep.
And I really am tired of women saying, oh, I want you to hear my feelings. I don't want you to fix anything. Because frankly, I don't think that's true. I think both things are true.
Okay.
Okay? I think that women want men to solve a problem. I do.
Right.
I mean, I do. And I want my partner to hear me, hear my feelings. So the model is a three-part model. The first is to listen and to hear empathically, right? To hear the feelings, hear the meaning behind the words, the energy, the emotion behind the words. And it's really safe to do that because you don't have to do anything. You don't have to engage in the feelings. Creating that empathic connection means I'm hearing that you have feelings. I don't even have to understand what they are. There's something really magical that happens when we're listening for feelings and we receive the feelings from the sender. So, listening for feelings. The second is to problem solve. And there are three problem-solving techniques that I really like. And I think that a lot of times there's breakdowns around problem-solving because people don't have a strategy. So listen for feelings, listen to problem-solve, then have a strategy at the end of the listening. And then the third piece is to listen for information, to receive. And I'll tell you a funny story about that and how that one wound up on the list. I said to my late husband one day, he was going out to do a few errands, and I said, would you do 2 errands for me? He said, sure, what do you need? I said, Sophie needs dog food, and I need some stuff picked up at the cleaners. And so I gave him the list, and I put his stuff and my stuff on the list in the order in which I wanted him to do the list. Why, you might ask? Because it was Saturday and certain things were going to close at certain times.
Yeah.
I never communicated that to him.
Okay.
I just put them in order, and I thought that he would follow the list. Well, he came home a couple of hours later, and he was so frustrated. And I said, what happened? And he said, do you know that the cleaners closes at 12? And I said, yes, I do. Do you know that the pet store closes at 2? I said, yeah. Yes, I do. And he
Uh-huh.
said, well, by the time I got anywhere, everything was closed.
Uh-huh.
And I said, well, how did you start to do the errands?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, I looked at the list and I determined which one was the furthest away.
Oh, oh
I
no.
went there and I worked my way home.
Ah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
listen to receive information, which means that the sender needs to actually send clear,
Okay.
accurate information.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's in a nutshell the model.
Right. Um, so let me think here. So you're illuminating that listening is extremely important, right? So what is good listening?
Well, so good listening is hearing,
Mm-hmm.
responding,
Mm-hmm.
and then there are some caveats.
Okay.
Don't believe that you know better.
Right.
Okay, that's a
Okay.
big one
Yeah.
because as people are talking, our brains are working.
Right.
But with that can be really dangerous. So don't believe that you know better.
Yeah.
Don't judge.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be really non-judgmental. And that means that we have to set aside our own beliefs, our own biases, our own assumptions.
Mm-hmm.
And we're really creating this space
Mm-hmm.
for somebody to step into so that we can know about them.
Right.
Right? So listening isn't about us, it's about the other person. It's all about somebody else.
Right.
And then the other thing is trying to fix the speaker or the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes people want to do that so much that they don't finish listening.
Right.
Right? They don't finish
They
listening.
don't finish listening. So what are some of the pitfalls of this good listening?
Well, when you believe that you know what's best, when you try to fix
So it's
somebody.
the opposite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And when you're really judgmental or disapproving, we have got those looks that move across our faces when we're disapproving or we don't agree. So disagreeing, disapproving, disbelieving,
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff is just it's like grit
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
in the relationship, in the feelings of the relationship, and it's not okay.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know better.
Mm-hmm.
We really want to be curious, and that's
Right.
that's what I say. Your middle name is curious. Be
I
massively
love that.
curious, right?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, why do you think that?
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
didn't know you thought that.
Yeah.
Well, what else do you think that I might not know? Right?
Right.
Be curious.
Right. And it's such a skill to practice because I know for me, when I started on this journey, the whole idea, because I didn't grow up being curious, I grew up having to know first. And so the whole notion of being curious was very frightening for me. Because what if you tell me something that I don't understand or that I feel threatened by? Then what do I do with that? You know? So of course I've
Right.
grown up with that. So Dr.
Right.
Jackie, and this is something that's really hard for me. What are some of the reasons that people misunderstand uh, what is being communicated to them?
Yeah, you're going to find this to be really interesting because we all overthink this. So we misunderstand each other because A, the sender isn't clear,
Ah,
okay?
yeah.
Or B, the listener is listening inaccurately.
Ah,
And the listener will listen inaccurately if you've got your own chatter going, if you have biases or assumptions or beliefs, or if you have preconceived ideas of what it might mean.
mm-hmm.
If I'm trying to listen to you and I'm really worried about what that really is going to mean to me, whatever it is that you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm going to probably miss what it is that you're saying.
Right, right. And so in essence, I'm really responding to myself.
Right, right, right. Isn't that true that we're our own worst enemies?
Right, right, right. So, um, so you talk about iMessages, right? So why is that important? Why is that so important in the communication between couples?
The very first reason, and it's the best reason, but not the very first reason,
Mm-hmm.
I can't hear you if you're talking to me about me.
Ah,
I mean, I
yeah,
can't, because
right.
I've got defenses. It's like, So
Yeah.
I'm gonna immediately become defensive, no
Right.
matter what it is you're saying. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want you to tell me about me. If you want to know about me, ask me. I'm the expert on me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay?
Yep.
So iMessage feedback is very, very powerful for a couple of reasons. First, um, we want to be known. So
Mm-hmm.
I want to tell you about me so that I'm known. I feel, I think, I need, I want, I like, I don't like, I
Mm-hmm.
prefer.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't work for me, right?
Right.
So, in order for you to really know me and for me to get what I need and want, remember those legitimate needs and wants?
Yeah.
Well, in order for me to get what I need and want, and for me to be my best and most brilliant, passionate self in your presence, then I need to find my courage. I need to identify my own internal experience accurately, find the words so that I can language it accurately, gather up my courage, and then I really need to express to you through iMessage feedback,
Mm-hmm.
through me being me in your presence.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, and it's easier for people to hear when we're talking about ourselves.
Right.
There is sometimes a misunderstanding that it's all about me. You know, it's all about you. That's all you do is talk about you.
Mm-hmm.
When you're interested in talking about you, then I will show up, I will listen very deeply and elegantly, and then I will engage with you about you.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm the one that's talking and I have a problem or I have a need or a want or something that I want to get done, then hello, it is about me.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's not a problem. You have to stop making that stuff a problem. It's all about you. Well, when it's about me, it's about me. When it's about you, it's about you. I
Mm-hmm.
always say to couples, if you're having a disagreement or an argument or emotion is high, stop for just a second and sort. Is this my problem? Is this your problem? Is this our problem?
Right. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. It could feel so terrifying when it's all in one big mess.
Yes. And overwhelming when it's all globbed together.
Exactly. Exactly. So, Dr. Jackie, what are some of the specific behaviors that, let's see, facilitate like not or not facilitative of good communication?
Yeah. This is a short list, but an important list.
Mm-hmm.
Blaming.
Mm.
Blaming is the number one defense mechanism. Stop it.
Yeah.
Right? Don't do it.
Stop it. I
Stop it.
agree. I totally agree.
Blaming,
Mm-hmm.
justifying, like I'm going to tell you a big story and I have a really good reason. I don't need a good reason,
Mm-hmm.
right? That I have a thought, have a need, have an idea, need something is enough.
Mm-hmm.
Justifying,
Mm-hmm.
blaming, seeking approval.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dynamic that really tweaks relationship energy if I'm seeking your approval because it means that somewhere inside me, I've decided that you're better or
Ah,
right?
right.
Or I'm less than. So I'm not
Mm-hmm.
going to seek your approval unless there's something energetically in the relationship that's out of balance.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
And the other thing is, oh, you're going to love this, hinting.
Ah, that's indirect, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's very indirect. We
Mm-hmm.
hint, and then we get hurt,
Yeah.
or we
Yeah.
feel dismissed, or diminished, or not heard, or a million things.
Yeah.
Sometimes, if you're talking to people who are indirect communicators,
Mm-hmm.
then hinting is fine. No, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's what happens when you hint. Indirect communicators are going to pick up all kinds of things. And because they're indirect, they're going to pick up stuff that is there and isn't there. So even if you're speaking to somebody that's an indirect communicator, they're
Mm-hmm.
liable to pick up something other than the thing you're hinting about. So don't hint.
Don't hit. Just be
No,
smart.
don't hint.
Yeah.
Just really, again, it's all about courage. It's about finding words, finding language to really articulate what's going on inside.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, you are really speaking the language of loving out loud, Dr. Jackie. I
Oh,
mean,
I'm so glad.
this is it.
Thank you.
And
Thank
you
you.
know what I love about this, and this was my goal for this summit, and I have to make sure when I do my next intro that I say this, is that this is, you've really given us tools that we could actually start to do right now. And that was my sort of underneath goal. I know last time my summits were pretty intellectual and high level. And not that that's not important, but we need to know what to do right now. We need to
Right.
know the how. And you just spoke so beautifully about that. I mean, I can think of things right now that I could start doing differently, you know.
Oh, thank you.
So,
I'm so happy to hear that.
yeah, yeah. So, we didn't talk about this, but um, our free gift. So, I don't know if we got that far in our conversation. Are you offering a free gift?
I am offering a free gift.
I
I
thought so
am, and I
because
have
you
it
do.
right here, only it's not in color.
It's not in color. Uh huh.
Here's my
Okay.
free gift.
Okay.
It is called, it's an e-booklet. It's called The Essential Relationship Success Skills for Happy Couples.
Yep.
And this is 25 success skills to listen with more than your ears.
Oh, great. Great. So, listeners, click on the button right underneath Dr. Jackie Black, PhD. Click right on there. There's a gift box. Click on it and you'll get it.
Yes.
So, yeah. Dr. Jackie Black, thank you so much for
It was,
loving out loud.
thank you, Paula. It was my pleasure. I really have loved being here with you, and I wish you all the best with your summit.
Thank you so much.